Ceylon Pass, total football.
Welcome back to Ceylon Pass. This is episode 2 of our podcast. Let's take it away.
Can we talk about Arteta first? Got the shortest career.
Arteta. Go.
Yeah.
Arteta is going to be a very short discussion.
Yeah. If you look at his stats, he's only got 15 matches, 8 wins, 5 draws, and 2 losses. And he's only been in charge for 139 days. So
it's a bit of a very small sample size, right, to judge him.
Yeah.
But
we can talk about
his career as an assistant manager back at City. He was
Yeah.
part of the big resurgence.
For about 200
of City
games,
after
he was
Pep
in
came
charge.
in.
Yeah. We
But
can
what
talk about
exactly did they do as
I've heard from most City fans and most what players have been saying is he was in charge of set pieces and that's why they're so shit now that he's gone. And you can see that he's brought a good amount of experience to Arsenal because they've sort of turned around the season. What do you guys think?
players have more faith now
Yeah.
that Arteta is there?
Yeah.
No, I think it's also the system. It's very important. They had a culture before there, right? It was a losing culture for the past few years. And there's been lots of negativity in terms of how they play football. So when you bring in someone who's been successful before in another club as well, that adds to the positive feeling inside the club. So I think in that sense, the club has been going in upward direction in terms of, like you said, the positivity and also there's a direction right now. Arteta, a player who's been successful before, a way of football that they want to play. So since the season was cut short, we never knew what he was going to do. But with the sample size that we had, there were signs of there were some draws, but they didn't lose. They kept on losing before, but they never lost games. So it's I guess it's something to look forward to for Arsenal fans, if there is any.
Yeah, especially with players like Ozil.
I think he's managed to unite the
yeah.
dressing room a little bit. Before, back in the good evening days, we had all of these players were fighting each other, and then there was Xhaka walking off of a match, and laying down the captaincy. There was a lot of arguments in the dressing room, and I think a lot of that faded away once Arteta stepped in. So I think that's a factor as well.
Yeah, and also Arsenal did not have a leadership figure in their team, inside the team, in the first 11. Right? They lost Koscielny, right? And then after that, at anyone, you need someone in your.
But it's been the captaincy has been bouncing from player to player for a while.
Who's their captain now?
I have no idea.
It's Aubameyang. Yeah, it's Aubameyang.
I think it should be. Yeah, he's one of the most senior players there, right? Aubameyang.
Yeah. There's talk of him being sold as well next season. Because,
and there was a report of Arteta saying
he's not too happy. I think there was this argument about him associating with Arsenal Fan TV.
Yeah.
And he was mad about that.
I don't think Arteta was.
I love Arsenal Fan TV, man. That's
me too.
The greatest thing to come out of football.
See, Arteta knows Arsenal, and I think that's the main quality that he possesses right now. You have seen that with Guardiola, with Barcelona, Zidane, with Real Madrid. When you know your club, it's easier to do your job. Yeah. And bringing in Emery after having Arsene Wenger for such a long time. Arsene knows the club, but Emery is new to the club, right? But now you have Arteta, someone who knows the club inside out. So I think that is going to make his job much easier compared to what Emery had to go through.
I think as a manager, the experience that he got from Pep to translate it to Arsenal's success is very important. I think to be sometimes to have a winning culture for a manager, he has to be in a winning culture as well. And environment is very important, you know. So I think people take their winning culture, for granted. But in that sense, he's seen a lot of things with Man City. So in that sense, he can pass that towards Arsenal in terms of getting the players together, for a cause and things like that. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure about what he does exactly. So that's what I can see on the surface for a fan who's not that much into the Arsenal side of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Aish, do you want to tell us what you think is?
Yeah, basically, I'd like to throw in, like, in support of what someone said. It's a lot of it is like they've got some great players over there at Arsenal. So a lot of it is like the culture that they had there wasn't great after Wenger left, because he was managing for like 20 years since the 80s. And then they replaced him with someone who didn't really understand what Arsenal was about. But Arteta knows what it is. He was, a very favored player while he was there, and I think he was the captain as well, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So he knows what the club is about. He knows the culture that they used to have, and he's. I feel like he's trying to bring that back, and I think that's one of the most important qualities he's got right now.
Yeah.
Good enough?
I don't have much to add on to that. Just in terms of like a tactical sense, I think he's doing a much better job than Emery with the players he has.
Yeah.
In terms of playing like the football that most Arsenal fans like to watch, so he's like catering towards that a lot more. So it's nice to see that. I think from Arsenal, like it's nice to see them playing like that sort of flowing football that you associate them with again. And you didn't see much of that even through most of Wenger's last season and like most of Emery's last the season that he was in charge. Yeah, so it's nice to see that again in terms of like a footballing aspect.
Okay. Others?
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a philosophy for the players to believe in now, from when Emery was there, and then all the interim managers. There was no real philosophy to follow, and along with that, even the Wenger ball that Arsenal was known for is kind of coming back. Like even the goals that they score are a lot more nice to look at. Like even when I think 2015-16, the goals at Cazorla and I think it was Wilshere. There were 2 goals that they scored. It was just beautiful to watch.
The Norwich goals.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
also,
they're coming back to where they were before, little by little, but there's still a long way for Arteta to go. And yeah, I guess.
I feel like 90s Arsenal was like the best decade that they had. They had so many
early
strikers.
2000s and 90s. Yeah.
Back when Wright was playing, was that 2000s or it was the 90s, right?
right.
Yeah, Wright was in the 90s.
Yeah,
So he was before Henry came. And like just
right,
before.
and then Henry, like that was like their best years. They were.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Personally, I think
Bergkamp came like towards the middle of that. Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on to the next manager then? I think we've done.
Okay. Next manager is Lampard.
Yeah.
Open discussion. Go. Thoughts.
Yeah. Do you want me to read out the stats? So in Derby, he played 57 matches. So whole season, basically. And then won 26, drew 15, and lost 16. And I think they almost got promoted to the league as well, right? They lost the playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
To Aston Villa, 2-1.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess he did a pretty good job there. Then he came to Chelsea, 42 matches, still 21 wins, 8 losses, 8 draws and 13 losses. So, I think he did a lot better than people expected him to. Right? I think people were happy with most Chelsea fans I spoke to were like, we'll be happy with like a sixth place finish or something. But I think they're doing beyond expectations this time. So yeah, Adu, what do you think about Lamps?
Lamps is doing good, okay. He's doing all right so far. His change from Derby to Chelsea was quite a shock, to be honest. And as far as I know, Abramovich has given him a 2-year grace period to get his shit together. And if it doesn't work out, then he gets sacked. Because knowing Abramovich is very volatile nature with managers, I was just wondering, would Lampard survive? But then I found out that he has a grace period of 2 years for him to kind of build his squad up. And if then it doesn't work out, they'll part ways. But so far, Lampard has been doing a good job with Chelsea so far. They're third place. And he's been employing most of the youth for the club. So that's a good start, I'd say. Whilst his playing style is still not the best, I'd say. It's still a start. So yeah, that's all that I've noticed so far.
I think we should consider the transfer ban as well, right? As we moved into
Yeah.
Chelsea, that hindered a lot of what we wanted to do. That's why Chelsea was enforced to use the youth that they had. But people were surprised on how good they did with the youth. It's a very young team, like Tommy Abraham, Mason Mount, and I think the system that they had, how Lampard incorporated that into his playing system was positive for Chelsea fans because they were inconsistent, right? As far as I was concerned, like they won few games, but then they lost to like teams on the lower order of the table. So I guess, like Adil said, if 2-year grace period, I don't think it's enough. Considering like with the virus right now, you're not going to be able to buy big marquee players in the next transfer window. So I think this has changed the perspective. So I think he would have more time in the future going forward. And as far as I'm concerned, I think he's playing his what do you call his culture. I mean, his history at the club will also help him being a legend at Chelsea, winning everything possible, right? Being around him, being around these young players, it's a positive influx of energies, like so to speak. So I think moving forward, it's a positive road for Chelsea fans, and also I think they should give him more time to imprint his playing style and also to buy more players that he wants.
Yeah, especially if he finishes.
No, go ahead.
If he finishes at third and like manages to get Champions League qualification as well, right? So that's pretty good. Yeah, sorry, James. What you
you can argue that the virus period would actually like make his period shorter because Abramovich, for one, he might look to make an impact now that say clubs are weaker or in a bit of trouble. He might not be that patient to wait, considering that even if you were a club doing well, you still have taken a hit and been pushed back. So he might not wait like it might be 2 years and done. When we talk about his playing style, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he plays with a lot of younger players, so they haven't fully developed as players. They're all developing players. So while they will play well and with plan, it will be really nice to watch at times. At times, you can see the lack of experience. It leads to a lack of consistency. So whereas he doesn't need marquee players per se, he does need possibly a good dressing room figure or two um, that can just help his squad overall. Because in pretty much all positions they had up and like young and upcoming players. So there's that as well.
I mean, they lost their best player last season. Look at it, they lost Hazard, and then still they are retaining a good position in the Champions in the Premier League, and they have UCL spot right now as well. So I think that he has been doing a good job so far.
Yeah.
But it's a bit, I don't know. I think he should manage for 1 or 2 more seasons for us to have like a proper idea about how he'll be.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on Lampard, like his main feature or main quality as a manager? Just no need of a explanation as such, but just go for it.
For me, it's the way that he's like involved the youth. In particular, two players, like he's really getting the best out of Pulisic. Uh, um, which
Aisha is a Dortmund fan, by the way, so you can see why he's become
it
playing on
hurts.
his face.
But yeah, he was playing like trash for Dortmund for like the last year after he agreed the move with Chelsea because he didn't have any like drive to participate in the team. That's when he was playing for Dortmund. But then when he came to Chelsea, um, Lampard really made him fight for his place and like got the best that he could out of him. So that's one player that he's worked really well with. And then the other player that I'd say that he's really worked well with is I don't know if I'm saying this right, Hudson Odoi. He's
Yes.
really like
Yeah.
improved his
Hudson
play as
Odoi.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hudson-Odoi has always been like a massive prospect, right? And like he had that massive injury at the end of last season, right?
Yeah.
And like towards the start of this season, and that kind of like halted his progress. And I think he's also gotten the best of Reece James, the right back, so that
Yeah.
he's kept like Alonso out of the team. Not like Alonso is like the best defensive presence, but I think he trusts Reece James a lot more to like
Does
create those.
Reece James play? I mean, doesn't Alonso play as a left back?
Yeah, but like he's done that sort of thing where like he's put in Reece James at the right, so he doesn't have to accommodate Alonso on the left unless they're playing a back three.
Right.
So like then they just have to play a back four, and someone else plays on the left. Like I can't
Somehow,
remember
what's your
his name.
thoughts on
That's
Lampard?
better.
Sorry,
What are
Lampard.
your thoughts?
I think like many people said how he has incorporated the youth, right? Like he didn't have any option in that sense. He had to use the youth. So it's a win-win for him in that sense, you know. So what he did, he was successful. Let's say he had some other choice, then we could have seen, okay, fine, he didn't use the youth, he had to buy players. So with what the sample that we got, he's been successful, right? I think moving forward, like you said, I think the most important thing is the culture around Chelsea and him being as a player, like to infuse that into the young players. I think he has that, and he's always been that kind of leader, right? As a player as well. I think he can use that as a skill in terms of managing players, and use his experience as well. And people respect him.
Yeah.
If you look at it, even pundits they respect him. You know, even though they lose, they know that he has some kind of I guess. So I think that respect is also very important. So I
Yeah.
think he has that all round kind of attribute that right now what people are looking for. I don't know how far it will go. I think like we said before, he needs support from the club as well
Yeah.
moving forward. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Well, arguably, he's the club's greatest player of all time. Arguably, but I
Yeah.
can't really think of anybody else who comes close. But so
He turned the club
he
around.
does get that. What?
I mean, he turned the club around. He
Yeah.
put them on the map
Yeah, and
basically.
then he does. He has the respect and he has that level where it's not like the club can kick him out. I mean, they would face
Exactly.
major backlash. It's not just.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Miro, Adina, you have not answered that.
I mean, I guess I think y'all mentioned it already. I think the way he has used young players during his time, I think it's as they said. I mean, he doesn't have any other option either at this point. But
Yeah.
he has done a good job with the youngsters. So that might be my favorite thing about him so far. But let's see in the future.
Yeah. Cool.
So are we talking about Gerrard now?
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, we
Next
can
manager
briefly
is
mention
Gerrard.
Gerrard.
So, would like to start
I
off
think
with
Gerrard.
Gerrard.
I
Dulva,
think
can you
Gerrard's a bit
bring up his
unsung.
stats?
Sorry.
Yeah, so he started with Rangers on June of 2018, and that was a 6-year contract as well. So he has 114 matches now. He's won 68, drawn 28, and lost 18. And I think they were on the verge of like potentially challenging Celtic for that
Number one spot.
Scottish title.
At like the beginning of the last decade, they went bankrupt, and then they were busted down to like the fourth tier of Scottish football. And then like they slowly came back up the ranks, and as soon as they hit the Scottish Premier League, like their top tier, I think that was when Gerrard came in, or it was either that year or the year after that. I'm not sure which. Let me check.
But he has been doing a decent job. I think they beat Celtic after 2012 under Gerrard. So that's the first time the Rangers beat Celtic since.
Yeah, because Celtic stayed on top and then Rangers were busted down, and they were like the two big teams in that league.
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
nobody else was like even close to the level that they were at.
Yeah.
But I think Gerrard's a bit unsung for his efforts that he has done for Rangers. They're currently at Europa, lastly 16 Europa League, and they came to the Scottish Cup finals, but they lost to Hearts.
Basically, like for me, like the stuff that he's done has been admirable, but Celtic has so much ground in front of them that it'll take a while for them to surpass Celtic in that league. But it's happening.
But will Gerrard stay for that long? Is the
Yeah,
question.
exactly. Would he stay for that long?
That's the question.
He might just get
I don't think he has too many options that like he just jump at, because like you said, he needs to get recognized a bit more, especially because of the league they play in and because of Celtic overpowering. Nobody's going to recognize his accomplishment that much just yet. And I'm sure one day he'd love to coach Liverpool or something like that. But I don't see that happening anytime soon with Jurgen Klopp like that in this kind of form. So he might probably stick with Rangers for a while, and then eventually maybe move to Liverpool as an assistant coach and then take over as manager. Other than that, maybe he'll go to like the MLS or something like that for money, but I don't see the point unless he sees a sport in South Africa.
But an English coach usually outside of England doesn't really fare too well. That was another thing that's been happening.
Yeah.
And with that,
That's
Scott
true.
Gary, Neville. JK, no, it's Phil Neville.
I mean, Gary Neville had a season in Valencia.
Let's not.
Let's not.
We don't have to talk about it.
I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say.
Ceylon Pass. Total football.